If you've ever felt that deep, heavy exhaustion that comes from worrying all night, then this conversation is for you. I'm Echo of Grace, and honestly, I know that feeling intimately. I'm not here to pretend I have some perfect, pristine life. There were nights, not that long ago, when I also cried all night long, feeling like the weight of tomorrow was simply too much to bear, and that God had perhaps forgotten my address. It's that feeling of being a small boat tossed around in a massive, dark ocean. The waves of what if keep crashing over the deck, and you're just trying desperately to scoop the water out before you sink. But what if I told you there is an anchor, a formula so powerful and so specific, hidden right in the ancient words of Isaiah 9:6, that can instantly silence the storm inside you? This isn't just about saying a general prayer. This is about using the specific, intentional names given to the Prince of Peace, calling on the exact aspect of his character that counters your exact type of anxiety. We're going to unpack this divine formula, but we have to start with the real pain. Worry is not just a mental exercise. It's an energy drain. It steals your focus, it ruins your sleep, and it disconnects you from the present moment where peace actually lives. And the first step to stopping the worry instantly is understanding which name cancels out the noise in your head. Listen closely, because this is the root of the problem for most of us. We worry because we feel lost and confused about the next step. We have too many options, too much information, and no clear direction. Our internal world is a mess of conflicting voices. This is where we call upon the first name in the formula, Wonderful Counselor. When you feel utterly lost, when the path ahead looks like thick fog, you are primarily needing wisdom and clarity. You aren't needing brute strength yet. You are needing guidance.
And here's the hack. When you feel that specific brand of anxiety, the "I don't know what to do next" worry, you don't just ask God for peace. You specifically address him as the Wonderful Counselor. When I first learned to do this, it felt almost too simple, but the shift was immediate. Instead of praying, "God, please take away my worry," I started praying, "Wonderful Counselor, my mind is spinning. I need to know the next right step. Show me the single action I need to take right now." Do you see the difference? It takes the vast, overwhelming problem and funnels it into a single, solvable request, acknowledging that you are talking to the ultimate source of wisdom. This is the first anchor you drop into the stormy sea. It stops the boat from drifting aimlessly. If your worry is about decisions, confusion, or regret over past choices, you are trying to operate without a map. But the Wonderful Counselor is the map. He is the GPS that constantly recalculates the route, even when you make a wrong turn. This brings us to a crucial error I see almost everyone making when they try to stop worrying. They treat worry like a spiritual failing, beating themselves up for not having enough faith. Stop that immediately. Worry is a human reaction to feeling out of control. It's a signal that your soul needs a specific type of connection. When you call him the Wonderful Counselor, you are admitting your confusion, not your lack of faith. You are saying, "I am overwhelmed by information, and I need your perfect perspective." This connection, this acknowledgement of his role as the ultimate advisor, often brings an immediate sense of quiet, simply because you have surrendered the need to figure it all out yourself. You have handed the clipboarded endless options to the expert. Are you truly letting that sink in? You don't have to carry the burden of being the decision maker for the entire universe. Your job is only to listen for the next instruction.
But what happens when your worry isn't about confusion, but about feeling utterly inadequate or weak? That's a different kind of storm, and it requires us to call upon the second, equally vital name in the Isaiah formula. It's the name that counters the feeling that you simply don't have the strength to face tomorrow. We often feel like we are fighting our battles with a flimsy shield and a dull plastic sword. We feel small against the giants of debt, illness, or relationship breakdowns. This is where we transition from needing counsel to needing raw, divine power. And that power is found in the next name, which we will explore now. This brings us to the second name, the one we call out when we feel like everything is crumbling and we are too small to hold it up. It is the name Mighty God. I know that feeling deeply. I have sat on the floor of my own apartment, looking at the bills or staring at a doctor's report, and felt my knees actually shake. I wasn't just sad, I was terrified because I knew I didn't have the raw, brute power to fix it. And that's the beautiful, terrifying truth. You don't. You are not meant to be the mighty God. We spend so much emotional energy trying to lift weights we were never designed to carry. We try to force growth in our lives, forgetting that the strength required to change a field of weeds into a productive garden is far beyond human capacity. When you look at the mountain of worry, the debt, the illness, the relationship breakdown, you are not supposed to be the one who moves the mountain. Your job is simply to point the mountain toward the one who already has the power.
When you pray and address him as mighty God, you are essentially signing a treaty that says, I surrender my inadequacy for your strength. This isn't just a theological idea, it's a nervous system hack. Your body relaxes because the burden of performance is lifted. You are consciously shifting your identity from the fragile defender to the protected citizen. When the enemy, be it fear, sickness, or financial ruin, comes calling, it doesn't meet you, it meets the mighty God who stands in front of you. Listen closely to this next part. The worry that comes from weakness is often paralyzing. It stops us from taking the simple next step that the wonderful counselor already gave us. If you feel weak, your prayer needs to stop being about asking for help and start being about acknowledging who He is. Say it out loud. You are the mighty God. Therefore, I cannot fail in this fight because it is yours. This single shift in declaration changes your internal posture from fearful retreat to confident advance. The strength doesn't come from a sudden burst of energy. It comes from the quiet, profound realization that the battle has already been decided by a power infinitely greater than your circumstances. But sometimes, even when we acknowledge His power, a deeper, colder worry settles in, the fear of abandonment. We think, okay, He is mighty, but does He care about me? Will He forget me when I'm struggling? This is the core fear of the orphan, the feeling that you are utterly alone in the darkness. This takes us immediately to the third, deeply comforting name in the Isaiah formula, Everlasting Father.
This name is about commitment. It's about unconditional, unending presence. The shift from mighty God to everlasting Father is the shift from fearing inadequacy to finding security. A mighty God might win the battle, but an everlasting Father ensures you are fed, clothed, and never left behind, even when you mess up. I know what it's like to feel forgotten. I have sat through seasons where the silence felt deafening, and I genuinely believed God had just left the room, or maybe had too many other more important planets to worry about. I felt orphaned by my own circumstances. The beauty of the term everlasting Father is that it wipes out the concept of temporary commitment. It means He is not a fair-weather friend. He doesn't say, I'll be your father until you get divorced, or I'll be your father until you default on the mortgage. No, everlasting means the connection is permanent. It is the foundation of the entire garden, the soil itself, which never disappears, even when the harsh winter arrives. When you feel that sting of loneliness, that feeling that nobody truly sees your struggle, you need to whisper this name, Everlasting Father. This is not a request, it is a declaration of relationship. It reminds you that the source of all power, mighty God, is also the source of all intimacy and provision, Everlasting Father. This is why the three names work like an immediate worry stopper cocktail. You are essentially doing a three-step internal check. First, wonderful counselor. What is the instruction? What is the next step? Focus on the present moment. Second, mighty God. Do I have the strength? No, but He does. Focus on His power, not your weakness. Third, everlasting Father. Am I alone? No, He is committed to me forever. Focus on His permanence, not your temporary feeling of abandonment.
This process, counsel, might, commitment, is the internal scaffolding that allows you to stand firm. It tackles the three main roots of worry: confusion,
inadequacy, and loneliness. You are systematically dismantling the lies that the enemy whispers to you. You might be thinking, that's great, but how does this actually stop the worry instantly? We are building the foundation right now. We need the counsel to know the direction, the might to walk the path, and the Father's commitment to know we won't fall off. But none of these three names by themselves are the actual cure for the anxiety attack. They prepare the ground. They clear the weeds. The instant stop, the final moment of peace, comes only when you introduce the fourth and final name. This name is the ultimate formula hack because it integrates all three previous names into a single, undeniable reality. It is the name that stops the racing heart, the shallow breath, and the spiraling thought process dead in its tracks. It is the name that makes the whole garden flourish, regardless of the storms outside. And it is the name we will turn to now, the one we have been seeking all along, the very core of this powerful prayer, the Prince of Peace. The Prince of Peace. This isn't just poetry or a nice closing title. This is the ultimate practical stop sign for your worry, the immediate end to the spiraling thoughts. Think about the first three names we discussed. Counselor gave us the map and the direction. Mighty God gave us the engine and the power to move. Everlasting Father gave us the sturdy ship and the security of knowing we belong. But what happens when the waves are still crashing, even with the direction, power, and security in place? You need something that holds the boat absolutely steady, regardless of the surrounding chaos.
This is where we introduce the metaphor that brings everything together, the anchor. The Prince of Peace is the anchor dropped deep into the solid, immovable rock beneath the turbulent waters. When anxiety hits, the boat of your mind starts spinning wildly, trying to find footing on the shifting surface, but the anchor stops the movement completely. Peace is not the calm sea. Peace is the calm you find within the storm, knowing that you are tethered to something unbreakable. I remember nights, and I mean countless nights, where I felt like my thoughts were a runaway train and I couldn't find the emergency brake. I tried breathing exercises, I tried distraction, but the only thing that truly worked was surrendering the right to control the storm and invoking the one who controls the storm itself. I know how it feels to try and manufacture peace, to force yourself to calm down, only to feel the panic surge back stronger. I've cried myself to sleep, wishing for 5 minutes of silence in my own head. But when you call him the Prince of Peace, you are making a declaration. You are acknowledging that peace is not an emotion you have to generate. It is a person you invite into the room. And here is the subtle shift that makes this entire formula a powerful hack. When you acknowledge him as the Prince of Peace, you are telling your mind, your body, and your spirit that the internal battle for control is already won. He is the ruler of peace, meaning he dictates the terms of stillness in your life. This is the moment where the four names lock together, creating the complete Isaiah 9:6 formula. When the panic starts, you don't just rush the words. You breathe and you go through the sequence intentionally. Are you writing this down? Because this specific sequence is the key to activating the full power of this ancient passage.
First, you recognize the chaos and the need for clarity. Wonderful Counselor, I need direction because I am lost in this worry. Second, you ask for the strength to stand still. Mighty God, give me the power to remain grounded and not flee this moment. Third, you rest in the relationship and security. Everlasting Father, I trust you will not let me sink because I am yours. And finally, you declare the cessation of the internal war, dropping the anchor. Prince of Peace, rule over this chaos and command stillness in my heart now. See how that works? It's a progression that moves from intellectual acknowledgement to surrender of the will and finally to deep spiritual rest. You move from the mind to the will to the heart and finally to the soul. The mistake so many of us make is trying to earn peace by solving the problem first. We think, if I just get that bill paid, or if I just fix that relationship, or if I get that diagnosis, then I will have peace. But that's chasing the calm sea, and the ocean is rarely calm for long. The Prince of Peace teaches us to find the stillness before the problem is solved, because his presence is the solution, not the outcome. I learned this the hard way,
thinking I had to be strong enough to carry all my burdens and figure out the solution to every single worry. That belief only led to burnout and more tears, making the anxiety worse. You don't have to carry the burdens. You just have to drop the anchor and let the Prince of Peace take the weight. Let's wrap this up, friend. We started seeking a quick fix for worry, and we found a timeless 4-part formula rooted in a profound promise. It's simple, deep, and profoundly effective because it addresses the root of the panic, not just the symptom. The power is in the intentionality, in the breath you take between each name. Don't just rush through the words like a magical incantation.
Live them, believing that the Prince of Peace is already standing right beside you, ready to command the storm to cease. If this message spoke to your heart, if you felt that stillness just reading about the anchor, please don't keep this powerful truth to yourself. Live them, believing that the Prince of Peace is already standing right beside you, ready to command the storm to cease. If this message spoke to your heart, if you felt that stillness just reading about the anchor, please don't keep this powerful truth to yourself. Share this video with one friend who you know is struggling right now, the one who needs to find their anchor too. Let them know they are not alone. And if you want to keep exploring how to truly live in the peace that surpasses all understanding, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. I post new messages every week, designed to help us navigate these stormy waters together, leaning on the Counselor, the mighty God, the Father, and the Prince of Peace. Remember this always: you are not alone in the boat. The anchor holds. Find your peace today, and let the Prince of Peace rule your heart. God bless you.